Yo, my head. Oh, the pain. Alright, listen, bro, don't worry about it. It's fine. We'll get you to a doctor real quick. Oh, God, my head again. What, did he take another penalty or something? Okay, we've run some tests, and we think you're going to be okay for now. But honestly, be careful, because one more hit to the head like that, and... Oh, God, how is that even possible in a hospital environment? For fuck's sake, man. Yo guys, it is your boy Niran here, and you are watching FTW. This of course is the series where I bring you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. But what's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, British former heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua, was video confronting university students in Loughborough.
Remember you running him up, because when I bring people up here and I start cracking your glass jaws, none of you will like it. When your jaws start breaking, people start chasing you out of this uni, none of you will like it. Watch your mouth, because you don't know who you're talking to sometimes. This after the students had shouted abuse at him for not fighting Tyson Fury. We've got Tyson here at the weigh-in after being forced into the fight by Jack, 19.
He's a good-looking chubby, isn't he?
Yeah.
Have you got a big Corey? Have you got a big Corey? Big what? Big Corey. A big Corey. Have you got a big Corey?
Why are you giving it large to Anthony Joshua when all you do is drink Jaeger on the weekend? And trust me, I've been a student, I know. Yeah, so basically, babe, if it wasn't for the knee injury, we can see the aftermath of the video here.
I'm really sorry.
Who's a wanker?
Please, I'm sorry.
I'm a wanker, mate. Yeah.
On to the football though now, and... well, where to start? Manchester City are your Premier League champions after a 3-2 comeback victory over Aston Villa.
General John Stone. Say something now.
Wagwan Generals.
Matty Cash gave Villa a shock lead. Well, unless you've seen his old tweets before. We've got Jack Grealish here if Villa had actually gone on to win the game. This, though, only for the villains to completely fall apart.
That is so Gerrard.
Fuck's sake, man. In 6 minutes, we really needed this guy at the Etihad. Yep, that'll do, mate. You had one job. This is my biggest day of supporting you since I started supporting you last week. They rested their star goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, because he's playing in an international game in 2 weeks.
Match fixed.
Steven Gerrard might be an Everton fan after all. Nah, I'm messing. It's not Stevie's fault. It's a mad comeback from City, and I'm just a sad boy. Pep Guardiola really took notes on the Real embarrassment and decided to use them himself. It's fair to say he was gassed in the dressing room at full time. Ilkay Gundogan had a call for former manager Jurgen Klopp.
You have one new message.
Ice in the fucking veins, mate! Meanwhile, Jack Grealish was absolutely loving life during the pitch invasion. And that continued into the next few days as he was very swiftly on the drinks. He looks like he's come out of a spoon's toilet after 12 shots and a tactical Chunde here. He barely even knows there's a party going on. Actually, we've had enough about that this week.
I want to thank everyone, but the main person I want to thank is Bernardo Silva for coming off in the 70th minute, because he was miles off it yesterday.
Alright, look, Bernardo, don't listen to him, alright? The Man City fans, I mean, they still love you at least. And by Tuesday, the guy was already in Spain partying in Ibiza after helping to win Man City's 15th trophy in the last 10 years. Speaking of things associated with 15, there's no chance he booked his own flights, by the way. He doesn't even know what England looks like. He thinks this is a map of Brazil. Man City fans have got a new affectionate name for centre-back Aymeric Laporte. Meanwhile, new signing Erling Haaland's already getting some fan art in the area. And for the bus parade, I mean, there was an absolutely wild Man City crowd in attendance.
Oh, that was crazy. I've never actually experienced that sort of atmosphere at a game before. It's absolutely electric.
This is their under-23 squad. Are you mad? Honestly, there's enough people here to get them on the bus as well. Despite victory on the final day, Liverpool had to settle for second in the league with another comeback win over Wolves. It's fair to say that it started badly here for the Reds.
Well, I'm just staggered up the stairs and we're fucking losing again.
I'm sure Connor Cody was tempted to give his former side a little bit of help here. Obviously, going into the final day, not knowing who was going to win the league, there was a spare trophy set up at Anfield. That's in a Merseyside council bin by now. Wolves fans even faked an Aston Villa equaliser in the crowd late in the game.
There's a big cheer going around, although we know not why, because Manchester City, to our knowledge, are still leading by 3 goals to 2.
Our home support must have been confused checking the Sky app. I mean, I didn't realise the stream was this far behind. It's a shithousery award for the Wolves faithful. We did at least get a send-off for legendary striker Divock Origi, whose important goals at the club include an equaliser against Everton, Newcastle, the second goal in the Champions League final, and of course those goals against Barca in the semis. It's true, football without Origi is nothing. And on the Jubilee weekend, the Queen even had her say on the matter. Liam Gallagher was quick to rub Man City's title win in Jamie Carragher's face on Twitter. He had a good response for the former Oasis frontman, but Specsavers came along and put both of them in a Tesco meal deal. At least we know that according to Sport Bible, we would have won the league if it was based on an aggregate scoreline. Safe, and Burnley would have won if the league was based on Brexit votes. Brighton would win based on beach density. Say less, we'll base it on games played and just call the league a draw. Ultimately though, we were beaten by a side to the league that's got a little bit more firepower and definitely more squad depth than us. And having played in every single game of the season possible, we just simply can't keep up the level of performance that they can. But I'm very proud of the boys regardless. We'll come back to the Premier League final day in a second, but first a huge news of a huge deal for PSG striker Kylian Mbappe, who's announced he'll be staying at the club amid huge interest from La Liga giants Real Madrid. He gets £100 million as a salary per year, a £300 million signing bonus, and has a say in signings at the club and their next manager. It's been announced for about a day, by the way, and Maurizio Pochettino's already on the way out.
Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
He's going to be the one conducting the press conferences for the starting 11. Are you mad? He could put his younger brother in the starting 11 and he's like aged 14. His first role in charge of the place has got to be to ban the fans that drew this, because we've got live scenes of him attempting to coach Leandro Paredes here.
You can never make it. You're supposed to be a dinner man.
We've got Gini Wijnaldum here after his third arm crossing session of the day. Hey, bro, I barely even score. I don't need to know the celebration. What's the point? We all know he's just going to use this power to sell himself to Real Madrid next summer. Apparently, Tottenham representatives came in with a 100k offer shortly before the deal was signed.
Any chance of persuading you to move to North London?
Yeah, that's me about it. But no, no.
For me, he's got to work on Neymar's absence. I say set triple training on his sister's birthday. Now, La Liga, as a league representative, were not impressed here, putting out a statement complaining to FIFA. But they do have a little bit of a point here. Obviously, kind of being able to take control of his own club is a little bit mad. Man's playing player career mode here. But the finances are outrageous. I mean, where is financial fair play for a deal like this? And every other player in world football, especially at like a relatively top level, is going to look at this deal and up their own prices now, because it's always a yardstick. Like, how are smaller clubs going to be able to compete even slightly with the amount of money being thrown around here? Back to the Premier League though now, and in the race for survival, Everton kept their place in the division with an unreal comeback against Palace. It was complete limbs at Goodison Park here, including a deleted scene from No Way Home. Genuinely, this comeback was nuts, and Richarlison was involved again. He decided to take shots at Jamie Carragher too, telling him to keep his name out of his mouth on Twitter. What's Jamie done, man? He's getting it from all angles here. Not like that, though. Obviously, that's a bit crazy. I know he likes spitting on people, but not that kind of. Emotions were high in the crowd in the last stages here. One woman came in with a violent attack on Joachim Andersen, and at full time, there was a mass pitch invasion. You see these scenes, expect them to be towards the top, and then you look at the table.
Easy top 3. If I'm not 16!
Nah, I'm messing. Honestly, fuck the celebration police. I hate more than anything people being like, oh, why are you celebrating this thing on Twitter? Shut up, man. Let people celebrate things that are relative to them. It did also see an Everton fan run up into the face of Patrick Vieira.
Go down, you puppet! Get it! Hey! Fuck off!
And get exactly what was coming to him. He must have been less than 14 years old. There's no way he's seen Vieira's playing career. He's a big man, you know. He probably put Vicks Vapor Rub on before this karate kick. But it does raise a serious question about pitch invasions, especially after what happened at the Etihad, where Aston Villa goalkeeper Robin Olsen was attacked. And maybe better security is needed in games like this. Crystal Palace fans, though, have a great and creative chant now for Vieira. Meanwhile, in the opposite dugout, it was a stressful day for Frank Lampard. This was him at half-time versus him at full-time.
To say in front of everyone that one of the best people I've ever met as a man and what you...
Brother, I've known you for like 3 weeks. What's going on? And on the final day, Leeds joined them in Premier League survival, beating Brentford and condemning Burnley to Championship football. The deal was done by the 90th minute, but a late Jack Harrison goal topped it all off.
Oh, Jack Harrison! Now they can celebrate!
At a full-time whistle, and Rafinha made his way over to the Leeds fans. on his knees before joining them in the crowd. We've seen a pitch invasion, now you're seeing a crowd invasion. Disappointment though for Burnley, relegated after a 2-1 loss to Newcastle. Their transfer strategy next season is now just dipping into a hat full of British first names.
Number 4!
In the race for the top 4 and a convincing Spurs win guaranteed Conte's men Champions League football, hence resigning Arsenal all or nothing to the comedy section. We've got live scenes of Norwich fans at the death despite having already been battered.
4-0 down, 5 minutes left. There's still time, lads! We can do this!
How have we allowed this pyramid scheme malarkey from Norwich to continue? Their population has extra fingers and toes, and they still can't ball as good as the rest of the league. United characteristically lost 1-0 on the final day to Vieira's Crystal Palace, but still claimed Europa League football. Meanwhile, there was praise for youngster Hannibal again, after just kicking the opposition once more. Like, lads, come on, he's got to actually play some football. I hear what United fans are saying, that he's showing some fight and desire, but come on, he could drop a 6.2 on SofaScore, and they'll gas him up as long as he gives a Chinese burn to Michael Olise on the halfway line.
This is what he does!
Meanwhile, over at BBC News,
after a slow start, he eased through in straight sets.
Some of you may have noticed something pretty unusual on the ticker that runs along the bottom of the screen with news, and I hope that Manchester United fans weren't offended by it.
I mean, they're not wrong. They didn't have to say it. In the inaugural UEFA Conference League final, though, now, and Roma claimed a narrow victory over Eredivisie side Feyenoord. The pot bus is on a European tour. Of course, Jose Mourinho's the first person to win this trophy, by the way. It means the only team he's not won a trophy at is Spurs.
But Tottenham, it's the history of the Tottenham.
Tammy Abraham was suffering with a major injury at the end, quite clearly. A great positive at the end of a season where Roma did okay domestically, finishing 6th in the league, though you wouldn't know it from Gianluca Mancini's reactions. It's a shame for Feyenoord. Their run to the final was absolutely unreal. They're on a pretty shoestring budget, so to get this far was impressive. Now, moving on from Roma, and speaking of Italian sides winning trophies, AC Milan took their first Scudetto crown since 2011 with a 3-0 win over Sassuolo. It was a great day for their players. Rafael Leao celebrated with his family after securing the MVP for the league as well. It now means that 3 generations of Maldinis have won Serie A. Cesare, Paolo, and Daniel. Next up, Small Dini. The Milan players had a song for their boss on the team coach. Fans were out in full force on the street, especially mocking former AC Milan and now current Inter Milan midfielder Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Brazilian Junior Messias was an amateur, basically, footballer about 3 years ago, and after rising through the Italian leagues, now finds himself a Scudetto winner. Zlatan Ibrahimovic's entrance was very Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I'm surprised he can walk though, because apparently he played for the last 6 months, basically without an ACL. Hey babes, don't listen to him, yeah? I would have won a Champions League if it wasn't for the knee. And elsewhere in Serie A, against all odds, despite being basically down at the end of the 2021 calendar year, Salernitana survived to stay up in the first tier. Their boss Davide Nicola said that he would walk from Salerno all the way to the Pope to celebrate, and their fans marked the occasion with an unbelievable tifo that basically shows their entire club history. In Germany, in the DFB Pokal had very different finalists, with RB Leipzig beating Freiburg on penalties. With the wholesome nature and fan-owned nature of German football, an energy drink winning the competition has not gone down well, and I hear it, to be honest with you. Imagine like Carabao Grimsby won the FA Cup. Elsewhere in Dynamo Dresden were relegated from the second Bundesliga. Their fans threw pyros onto the pitch before full time to show their displeasure. Now in Spain, and Barcelona faced off against Australian A-League's All-Stars in a little bit of a friendly match, meaning that Adama Traore played against Adama Traore. And the best part is, both of them scored. Boy, imagine 2 actual Adama Traores. It'd be like 2 minivans colliding. Meanwhile, Valencia on the final day faced off against Celta Vigo and won 2-0. But their fans didn't see it, as they were waiting outside to protest their owners. Obviously made things a little bit difficult to tell what was actually going on in the game, though. Sergio Aguero today learned that he was baffled simply by other footballers.
Yo lo jugaba en el FIFA. Hakimi. No. Kimichi. Serginho, ¿no? Sí. Jorginho. Bueno.
In the Netherlands now, we've got one of the best saves to a knee slide fail you're probably ever going to see. Meanwhile, in Argentina, and Julian Alvarez, who's going to be at Man City next season, scored 6 in one Copa Libertadores game for River Plate. Meanwhile, over at Boca Juniors, and Marcos Rojo, formerly of Manchester United, was pictured on the pitch at full time, eating pizza and smoking. The diet of a champion, mate. Now on to our goals of the week. And first of all, we're over in Turkey, where a familiar face, Mario Balotelli, scored 5 this week, including this outrageous, filthy Rabona finish. Our second goal of the week comes from Chile, and from his own half by Felipe Gutierrez. And lastly, certainly not least though, we've got the FA Vars final, which is contested between amateur teams, and we've got a stunning volley from Kieran Barnes. He's definitely never going to forget this one. In Portugal, and after Cristiano Ronaldo escaped entering the Conference League with United, it's fair to say Gil Vicente were disappointed that this scoreline wouldn't be reproduced. And over in Bulgaria, we've got an absolutely mental story from their final day, where the club owner of a side called Sarsko Selo took matters into his own hands. Picture the scene. If his side lose, they get relegated, and they get a penalty in the final minute. One of his players steps up, but he's not too pleased about the man with the ball in his hand. So the owner of the club runs onto the pitch and stops said player from taking a pen and gives the ball to somebody else. The new Don steps up to take the penalty and misses it horribly. His side are relegated to the second division, and since then he's announced that he's going to dissolve the entire club. So overall, he's taken it well. Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty.
Oh, you teach up the chair.
And that concludes The Beautiful Game. Closer to home and ahead of the Champions League final, Liverpool are testing out brain centres that apparently bring all their players to their best state of mind. We've got a picture here of Trent Alexander-Arnold, and we can see the test results here. Neil Warnock has got himself on Twitter, and he used one of his first tweets to ridicule Mike Dean. This guy's going to give us unbelievable content. Meanwhile, Sunderland got themselves promoted to the Championship with a League One playoff victory over Wycombe Wanderers. It means that Adebayo Akinfenwa lost at Wembley in his final ever game. But look, listen, he's a legend, and we all know one thing he's got going for him.
This guy is
Over in Serbia, and with Red Star Belgrade ready to win the league, they earned themselves a penalty in the 90th minute of their final game of the season. They decided to let their goalkeeper take the pen, and he only went and converted it too. In Mexico, when there were unreal scenes between Tigres and Atlas, Tigres, who were 4-0 down, they managed to come back to 4-4 before giving away a penalty in extra time. Their goalkeeper literally started crying in an attempt to put off the penalty taker, and then earned a second yellow card for throwing another ball onto the pitch during an opposition's counter-attack. Cameroonian legend Roger Miller recreated his iconic 1990 celebration in a charity match this week. There's not quite as many good feelings though over in Japan, where two teammates were clearly having some kind of disagreement. In Croatia, and in a game between Dinamo Zagreb and Hajduk Split, there were 3 goals in additional time after the 90th minute. The Tel Aviv derby got off to a great start this week, and by great I mean catastrophic, given the game had to be suspended for pyros being thrown onto the pitch inside a minute. There was yet more relegation drama over in Russia between Rubin Kazan and Ufa, who were playing each other and were both threatened by relegation. Rubin Kazan, in the 10th minute of additional time, earned themselves a penalty, but they missed the penalty right at the death and ended up getting relegated themselves. Meanwhile, one fan over in Brazil made the most of adverse conditions, and his side's match getting called off for a waterlogged pitch. Now though, for the moment you've all been waiting for, because over in Romania, and this week we've not exactly got a story actually coming out of the nation itself, but they are still getting represented by referees in the Conference League final for that matter, and for some reason he gets support wherever he goes. I don't know if I've ever seen a banner supporting a referee before, but for Istran Kovac, now I have. Over in Latvia, and during a goalmouth scramble, things got a little bit tense here. In their northern European neighbours, and things are a little bit more calm in the stands in Estonia. Over in the Iraqi Premier League, and one player was not best pleased with getting a red card and decided to take his frustration out on the opposition Al-Quwa fans.
Aí sim, papai.
Hey, listen, babe, I know I'm still in the doghouse from last week, but I didn't mean to film them. Over in Central America now, and in El Salvador.
Quita la pelota Maciel, cuidado que la tiene Santa María, ahora sí le pega.
One lucky Brazilian fan was able to watch a regional match in the view from his window. Staying in Brazil, and Evandro Legate, down in the 4th division, managed to grab himself a late goal, the difference being he's a goalkeeper, and a selfie taken by a player at the end of the season. You can see some fans jumping in the background, worn with a very interesting shirt. Show boobs if you hate racism. Now look, listen, I hate racism, so... Now though, it's time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where I bring to the best of Sunday League and amateur football. Now this week we've got an absolute classic of a story coming from Scunthorpe in the UK, where a Sunday League side, after winning their local division, decided to rent out an open-top bus to do a tour around the town. Now obviously, they don't have that many fans, so nobody was in attendance, but they were kitted out with flares and of course getting the beers in as well. A beautiful Sunday League victory. On to the weird stuff though now. Over in Bosnia, and they don't exactly do national team announcements like the rest of the world. Instead, they print out the names on a sheet of A4 paper and then take a picture of that piece of paper to post online. Lads, you can at least make a graphic. Come on, it's 2022. The qualification rounds for the Conference League are already starting to fill out, with teams obviously finishing their domestic campaigns. And over in Gibraltar, Bruno's Magpies FC finished 4th in their division and were runners-up in the cup. Now this again means that they'll be in the qualification rounds, the very early ones though, for the Conference League. The fun fact is the club was only formed in 2013 from friends who just enjoyed drinking at the same bar that was called Bruno's Bar and Restaurant. A literal pub team is in the Conference League next year. And finally, over in Brazil, it's the 89th anniversary of a club called Vieira that are in the 3rd tier of the country. And to celebrate their anniversary, their mascot was actually invited into a Fortaleza council meeting. He just looks like a custom character in a cutscene of a video game. That though is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.